Hello and welcome in to the Louisiana Tech in 10 post-game show from the Ruston Daily Leader. I am sports editor Matt Belinson coming to you after Louisiana Tech's 30-20 loss to the NC State Wolfpack in Raleigh, North Carolina. This one's going to hurt, I think, if you're Louisiana Tech. Definitely not as, obviously not an embarrassing loss, not kind of some of the sloppy losses that we've seen over the last couple of years. But I think this one's going to hurt because it was right there. You're up 17-6 at halftime on the road against a team that, coming into the preseason was a top 25 team. NC State has some ACC title game aspirations, and you were in control if you're Louisiana Tech. You held Grayson McCall in this offense to under 120 yards in the first half, 2 of 7 on third down. I think less than 4 yards per play. It was all Louisiana Tech. Jack Turner was finding explosive plays to Marlon Jackson, to True Edwards in the first half. True Edwards, 148 receiving yards. 1 touchdown, in the first half. Just a really just all around great game for him. Colby Fields with an interception. It was just a great first half for Louisiana Tech, and then the second half happened. I was typing it in my post game story, and I think it rings true. I think in the Sonny Cumbie era, we've come to realize, and Sonny Cumbie has acknowledged it in multiple occasions after multiple games, and frankly wins and losses, the Bulldogs struggle to execute for 4 quarters. And that is why they have not been able to win at the high level that they want. Now, again, I know obviously competition level, you're on the road against an ACC opponent. The odds are stacked against you. Grayson McCall goes down. He's injured. A true freshman quarterback is put in for the Wolfpack in his second career collegiate game. I think 2 of their corners went down with injuries as well. You have a turnover in the first half. You have explosive plays with Jack Turner. You held, again, this offense to 2 of 7 on third down. And the first series out of halftime, a pick 6. Again, Jack Turner, through 2 starts this year, 2 pick 6s. The offensive line definitely needs to do a better job of protecting and kind of picking up, blitzes off the edge. That's been evident through 2 games. But man, just the turnovers, 6 turnovers through the offense through 2 games. You can't win like that. And especially, and Sonny Cumbie said, it was the turning point in the game. It got the crowd back into it. It got NC State back into the game. A pick 6, 3 plays out of halftime when you're up 11 with the ball in your first series to potentially go up even more and maybe put the game out of reach the way that the game just momentum was going. And you throw a pick 6, you force a ball, and NC State, kind of goes from there. Obviously, Louisiana Tech, 2 punts in the second half. You turn over on downs to end the game on your final drive, and then you settle for a 20-yard field goal in the second half when you get down to NC State's 3-yard line. It's just not good enough. And I think if you're Louisiana Tech, I think you have to understand that. A lot of times when people look at these type of losses, we weren't really supposed to be in this game. I think Louisiana Tech was like a 22-point underdog or something like that. That's great. I'm glad that, they battled. But at the same time, when the win is there to take, you have to take it, and you have to execute in order to have the winning, success that you want. A pick 6 out of halftime, a 20-yard field goal when you're down at your opponent's 3-yard line. I'm not sure why Marquise Crosby didn't get the ball on any of those carries. When they got inside the 3, Amari Wiggins was on that drive. I think Marquise finished with less than 6 carries for the game. That's surprising. It was just a bad second half, and I think if you've watched Louisiana Tech over the last couple of years, you've noticed this team cannot put together 4 quarters of clean football. They just can't do it, and I don't know why. Whether it's coaching, whether it's just players not, getting up for every single play, every single drive. I can't speak to that. That's a problem that the Bulldogs have to solve. But I think when they fly back to Monroe, tonight, they're gonna be thinking about this one, that they let a win slip through their hands. Just being honest. You're up 11 at halftime with the ball coming out of the second half. With a chance to score, you should win that game. Just given that the way the defense was playing, Colby Fields, C.J. Harris, Zach Zymos, Jesse Evans, they were all making great plays defensively. Michael Richard had a couple nice tackles today as well. And then the lack of execution, it just continues for this team. And Sonny Cumbie mentioned it post game that there are certain plays in every single game. I don't care if it's Conference USA or ACC. If you cannot execute in the game, in the plays that potentially flip a game on its head, you don't deserve to win, and you won't win. And again, when you think about Louisiana Tech's second half, a pick 6, a 20-yard field goal when you're at the opponent's 3-yard line. That tells the story of the game. And NC State was able to capitalize with its true freshman quarterback, 2 touchdown drives in the second half, and then obviously a field goal as well. It just was not a clean football game for Louisiana Tech, which I think we've come to expect at this point. When you look at Louisiana Tech over the last 3 seasons, when you think about the Western Kentucky game at Joy Stadium, last year, when you think about, the North Texas game as well, there are other examples as well. SMU, last year as well. I mean, Louisiana Tech, for whatever reason, in the first half of those games, did not come to play, did not execute, and then they try to rally really fast in the second half, and then they just come up short. And you can't play football that way. You cannot play football where for 2 quarters, for 1.5 quarters, for four straight drives, however you want to look at it, you just don't execute and then expect to win. And that's been the case with Louisiana Tech. A great first half. Again, Jack Turner, probably some of the best passes that I've seen him make. True Edwards, some really great catches. And then for whatever reason, the second half, I mean, there's execution-wise, guys are not, blocking up front. People aren't catching passes. I mean, Jack's kind of overthrowing guys. I mean, the running game through 2 games, just 59 carries, 169 yards for less than 3 yards a carry. Again, I don't know how you expect to win games like that when you don't have a true running threat. So again, if you're Louisiana Tech, I think you have to figure out a way offensively to execute for just 4 quarters. I mean, it sounds simple enough at the college level, but for Louisiana Tech, it's cost them so many wins, and I think it would have just been given this program such a huge spark. I mean, you come back home to Joy Stadium to host Tulsa. You're 2-0 off a win against an NC State team that came into the season with ACC championship aspirations. I mean, you frankly are thinking about, like, hey, can we make a run at the college football playoff? I mean, with a win like that on our resume, and then you just let it slip through your hands with a lack of execution. It's got to be tough. And again, if you're Louisiana Tech, you come back home and play a Tulsa team that you should beat. You play an FIU team on the road to open conference play, a team that you should beat. I mean, there are chances in front of this team to go into their bye week with 3 wins. That being said, the execution offensively has not given me the confidence to say, oh yeah, those are for sure wins. I think Louisiana Tech should win those games on paper, but if Louisiana Tech plays like this offensively, I don't know how you can expect that when they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. Even the first half, I forgot to mention that too. Louisiana Tech gets down inside the NC State 40-yard line, and then Landon Nelson sends the ball over Jack Turner's head, and NC State recovers. You just can't have it. Again, lack of execution in critical moments in the football game. I don't care if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter. When you're inside your opponent's side of the field with a chance to score, you can't mess up like that. And again, Louisiana Tech has had trouble kind of getting out of that rut. And so I think for them at this point, again, I think this is where the season truly starts. If you're asking me, I don't think on paper, if you looked at the season and say you beat Nichols, you lose to NC State, that's what I predicted. And I think if you're Louisiana Tech, I think you have to come back home and recognize winning a Conference USA championship is still on the table for you. You do have to beat Tulsa if you want to get to bowl eligibility, in my opinion, just based on how the schedule works out towards the latter half. And so, again, I think if you're Louisiana Tech, you have to come back home, take care of business, and then you have to go on the road to FIU and prove that you can win a road game. This program has 1 road win over the last 3 seasons. I'll say that again, 1 road win since 2021. I mean, and again, you saw why today against NC State, why that's the case, is that for whatever reason, whether it be the environment, whether it be them, getting ahead of their skis, they just cannot go on the road and execute for 4 quarters. And, it's pretty alarming at this point, but it's not unexpected. And so I think if you're Louisiana Tech, you just got to hope that your offense can take care of the football. You can establish a run game, and you do enough to beat Tulsa next week. I don't think you can go on the road to FIU with a 1-2 record and feel good about your chances. That's just me talking, but we'll see how it goes. And so, again, Louisiana Tech falls to NC State 30-20. A win that was in their grasp, and the Bulldogs let it slip away. Like I said, the Bulldogs will be back at home at Joy Stadium September 21st to host Tulsa, and then on the road at FIU to open conference play. But for the Ruston Daily Leader, I am sports editor Matt Belinson. Thank you for listening to this edition of Tech in 10. Thanks for reading and watching, and have a good one.